hogs, both animal and humans. She is someone who could have been maybe in a yacht somewhere or in a beachfront somewhere. You better don't play with her. She's not in a good mood. This sister could have been living comfortably. This sister could have been doing a lot of other things because of who she is. She could have been teaching anywhere she chose to, as she was. She's taught up and down the west coast of Africa. She could have been living the good life, but she decided to go back to her homeland to work with the poor, struggling people, and sacrificing her life, literally. And there aren't too many Bayyinahs around, in that not only is she back there, not only is she there working with the people, but most of all, she's working against the forces that are working against her people, primarily the United States Army, plus its local tools. And, you know, when someone takes a stand like that, we have to commend him. That's why you see we are so upset that more people aren't here to share this sister here today. And, you know, she has been consistent in that she is one of those warrior sisters, and there aren't very few around. And we can only commend her, we can only surround her, we can only strengthen her. But we don't have enough bodies to do this. So, going with the few we have, we know that the few we have here are down with her, and maybe we can take her to the next level. And yeah, okay, well, on the 7th of October, you can show your love. We'll have to pass around these flyers, so the absent ones who aren't here will show up at the mansion on the 7th. Thank you, my brother. And you will have to apologize. That doesn't include us here. I think we will be we may be in our good books, but we may not be high up on our hit list. So with the few of us here, I'll just ask you to give her a warm, revolutionary welcome. Our sister Bayyinah Bello.
In the names of the ancestors from whom we draw our inspiration, guidance, and strength, namely Isis, Oshun, Ogu, Ezuli, Nzinga, Toya, Nat Turner, Dessalines, we greet you in Ayitian traditional terms, One, Respect. In the name of resisting people of Haiti and the world, we greet you in the battle cry of the many, liberty or death. We thank African Echoes for inviting us to speak this evening. And as we discovered, our theme is fulfilling Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King prophecy. We thank you for being here. Unlike what Brother Inuni, I understand what he feels, but I really don't care about those who are not here. The important thing is you who are here. So let me invite you to come a little closer. So what comes out of me may be more what you need to know, what you need to hear. I thank you for the honor of allowing me to speak for you, what you want to know from yourself. Because ultimately, that is all that matters. Doesn't make any difference how many people stand up and clap for you. It makes no difference how many television program or radio program that you go on, what kind of a big star or big whatever you are. Because what is important is, are you yourself? And are you doing what your mission is? We want to know, how does a sister from Ayiti going to talk about fulfilling Martin Luther King's dream? Which dream was this? Little white children and little black children, hands in hands? Do you think this may be the dream that I'm going to talk about this evening? No. That dream is not in me. And I don't know of anybody who has this dream. And what is the dream? Well, it is a dream that is not often mentioned. But maybe it was just a mistake, but one day he said that he believed that one day a very small country somewhere insignificant would rise up and crush the United States of America. That is the dream I have in common with King. I come from a very small, insignificant country, trodden down, baffled by every so-called nation friend, sister nation, brother country, whatever it is they call themselves, baffled by so-called international community, baffled finally through education, through miseducation, through conditioning, baffled by ourselves, fooled and trampled by ourselves, because we have been trained to do this. But we must know, what is this country? We must know what is the purpose. A nation is what? A nation is a group of families that come together. They have past experience together, common past experience, and they established a common objective. When you have past experience, which give you culture together, and you establish an objective to work towards, then you become a nation. And if we go back to the time where they were creating this country, Ayiti, and please call it by its name, Ayiti, not anything that you hear other people calling it. Thank you. This is a land that the founders sat down and decided would be the refuge for all black people throughout the world. It's not whatever little group is living on it. It's not the possession, the propriety of the little group that is there now. But their vision was, we're going to create this space here as a place where any black person running from any kind of oppressing havoc, oppressing chaos, they can come here. And instantly, any black person who set foot on this land becomes automatically free and a citizen. They went further. They said anyone freeing slavery who comes to Haiti will be free. But if you're black, you are free and a citizen. Now that is the mission of this country. So Haiti does not mean this small geographical space there. It means everywhere black people can create a space that is a refuge for other black, then that person is in Haiti. Haiti is, as far as I know, the only island in the Caribbean that has its original name. Even though the criminals coming from Europe, arriving on the island of Haiti, that's the name of the entire island. That's what the Arawak people called it. And this for thousands of years before the criminals arrived from Europe. And when they arrive, they find the people there. It is estimated there were between 2 and 3.5 million Arawaks on the island in 1492. 11 years later, it was estimated less than 100,000 people were living on this island. A little before this estimate, as they noticed that the people were just dropping off like flies, the Europeans went to Jamaica, collected a portion of the population there, brought them to Haiti to dig for gold for them. And that population disappeared too. They went to Puerto Rico and brought boatloads of Arawak and Tainos and Caribs. And that population disappeared too in Haiti. And then, and only then, did the white man, we are told, the good father Las Casas, being so kind, he felt now that they're practically all dead, we shouldn't kill them all off completely. Obviously, they're not strong enough for this labor we want them to do. We should go to Africa and get some big, strong black folks. Bring them here to do this job, to work for us for nothing. This was a very pure father, Las Casas, a very humanitarian man who owned big plantations in Cuba and in Puerto Rico. And in the name of Jesus, he sent for boatloads of our brothers and sisters in Africa to travel the entire ocean, all these many miles, to come here and work so somebody else will get rich. Now, we are told this whole process is supposed to be a civilizing process. We are told the Arawaks were savages. We are told, in some cases they even say they were, what's the word they like to say when you eat people? No, cannibals. Cannibals. They were cannibals. But you know, these Arawaks were living there for thousands of years and multiplying. 3.5 million people eliminated in less than 11 years. A few Europeans came. The Europeans were never more than a few thousand on the island. If we had 3.5 million cannibals on an island, and a few thousand Europeans came, and after 11 years, the cannibals were all dead, and the civilizers were still there. Is there something wrong with this information? Something very wrong. Very, very wrong there. Yes, we have a dream. Yes, we have a firm conviction. For our study of history of our street has taught us. Nations always rise and become extremely so-called powerful. Once upon a time, England used to say, the sun never set. Can they say this today? Once upon a time, France said a lot of things. Once upon a time, Rome said a lot of things. But every single time, some small, insignificant nation rises and places that monster in its place. And I am certain the same, we will see that same thing. We have seen Russia disintegrate, or USSR, but there was a lot of propping, so a lot of us didn't even understand what really went down. And since it was like family affairs, things were arranged in such a way that you and I couldn't really see what happened. And then you know how it goes in the family. Even if I fight with you, we battle, I crush you down, then I help you get up too when we go in front of other people. So it's very difficult for people to really know what went down inside the room. But that's nothing. They think they did the big crushing for this period, but that's nothing. The best is yet to come. We, as a people, have to work seriously. The first war has to be the war on self. You and me and him and she and her and him need to know the white man is living inside of you. He is in your mind. With every book you studied in school, he snuffed inside the tiniest little crawl, this little fit in your head. And I don't know, maybe he has even entered our soul. We need to investigate. But we have a mission. The first mission, before you and I can get together, you need to get together with yourself, armed as you can get, with the best weapon, the highest, most up to the point technology weapon, and go out and get this white man out of your brain. And I have got to do the same thing before you and I can get together. We don't need to lament about those who are not here. Those who are not here are not ready to be here. Those who are not here could be troubled by what we have to say today. We don't know what it is, but whatever it is, we know that it is for those who are here. And the important thing is concentrate, you who are present. Concentrate on grasping the essence on what will be given to you so you can go out and have that first battle with which each one of us must have in order for us to come together. We must go out and face ourselves. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself the truth. Don't tell yourself no lies. Without the truth, we're not going anywhere. Yes, Haiti's mission is to create a land, a space where all black people who are in trouble anywhere in the world can come in and find refuge. So when you understand that, you also understand why any nation with this kind of mission in this white supremacy world that we're living in will be, must be, continuously under attack from every corner. That's normal. That's natural. And it is insane if you are an Ayitian to make believe or to tell yourself that you're going to go to your country and build a nice home and enjoy the sea on Sunday and, have a little fun, relax. I'm sorry. You should find another place where you should go do this. You cannot come and do this here. Because this here place is the center of the biggest war happening in this world. Because it does not have any one enemy. It has white supremacy as an enemy. And they are not asleep. They know, even if they kiss up with you, even if they sleep with you, they have identified you as their enemy and they're going to go after you. If they're kissing up on you, it means that you are in a position where they don't feel they can attack you openly now. If they're feeding you, you should know there's a lot of possibility that this food is poison. If you're drinking from them, you should know that there are great possibilities that there is something in this drink for you. But more than this, if we take a little look at the Constitution of this country, the first Constitution, the only valid Constitution, Constitution of 1805, states clearly this land is the land for all black folks. States clearly any black person landing here becomes automatically free and a citizen. States clearly no white man has the right to buy property here or walk as master on this land.
That's free land.
Clearly. And this law, and now when you learn that Haiti is actually on its, I think we were at Constitution 38 or 39, I don't know how many constitutions we have since the Constitution of 1805. If you understand, and of course in most books, you will not find a copy of the Constitution of 1805. They will begin with the Constitution of 1807, even though they will have the Constitution of 1801, which is before Haiti's independence. But most people can never find a copy of 1805. But if you understand the mission of this country, then you also understand why this Constitution cannot be this readily available. With every Constitution, they removed the mission of the country little by little. And the very last thing to fall out was the article on white man cannot buy land or walk as master on this land. And it was removed in 1915 during U.S. occupation.
Yes, ma'am. Tell them who your enemy is.
And the Marines encircled the Parliament at that time when they wanted to have this law removed from the books. They had already been manipulating several weeks already. Several new laws came in, removing this one, removing that one. But when they got to this law about white men, even this Parliament, which agreed with almost anything the U.S. asked. The U.S. asked to turn left, everybody turned left. Turn right, everybody turned right. But when they said we must remove this article, every parliamentary person said, not me. I don't want to be involved with this. I'm not here. So the U.S. Marines encircled the Parliament House, arrested all the Parliament folks, wrote the new decree to remove this law from the books, and passed it.
Democratically.
Democratically, thank you.
How American.
What type of democracy that was?
Okay.
White democracy?
All right? So Why? People will tell you many things and through their books on tops of books. You will read as to why the economic reasons why they had to occupy Haiti. Oh, no. The trouble, so much coup d'etats and too many killings of officials and too much trouble in the country. That's why the U.S. had to occupy Haiti. But here's what the U.S. did. When they came in the first time, they occupied Haiti. First, they changed all the worthwhile laws from the books. I'm sorry, that wasn't first. The very first thing was, Haiti was the only country at that time who did not have their money backed in the Americas, backed by the dollar. Our money was backed by gold. Our entire reserve, gold reserve, was taken away for safekeeping, we were told, and brought to Fort Knox. It has yet to return home. This was 1915. When somebody asks you why is there so much poverty, when some white person says, oh, I want to go help the poor people in Haiti, so I'm going to bring a little bread and a little water for them. Ask them, why don't you just ask your government to give them back their gold? Right. Yes. So, we're looking at a country that has set a model for black countries. The only country who had a constitution which was in accord with what the purpose of the people. We cannot have black people enslaved or colonized, and then when we're free, we say, oh, our colonizers are our best friends. They teach us the laws we should have in the books. We're going to take their books to have the schools. We're going to take their doctors to come and build our hospitals. Why the hell then why don't you just stay in slavery or stay in colonization? We have an example, Nigeria. Very important country. 110 million people strong. Powerful land, variety in climate. Nigeria has everything to win as a black country. When Nigeria was becoming, and the crackers really didn't want to give Nigeria up. They did not. Because Nigeria was too much wealth, too much of everything. And it had a very dynamic personality, the people of Nigeria. Well, when you read the Constitution of Nigeria, you can hardly tell this is a black nation. But furthermore, the accompanying agreements, Nigerians agreed to live in the hands of England. The educational system, the justice system, the finance system, and the resources. So here we are independent. Here's how it went in Nigeria. We're independent. Hooray! Independence! Wonderful. But England will determine what you do as far as education is concerned, will determine how money is spent and for what, will determine how resources are used, and will determine justice for the next 15 to 20 years. Is that independence?
No. Modern slavery.
All right. So, Haiti, if you're looking for one country, one black country, coming out of slavery or colonization, that actually had what you call independence, you will not find two examples. Not even Ghana. Ghana is the closest. Ghana had pretty good documents in what they set up. Guinea tried. Paid very dearly for trying. Okay? So, tell me, here we are. I'm a slave master. You're my slaves. I spent 100 years beating up on you, your grandmama, your great-grandmama, making you work for nothing for me. Centuries after centuries. And then one day independence must come. I said, okay, fine, let's have independence. Let's sit down and talk about it. Here's how your independence gonna go, okay? Let me tell you. And now, independence is signed. We all happy. We shake hands. How sweet. All the land that I took from your family remains my land, of course. And now you out in the streets begging. You know what I'm gonna say? Look at this bum. What is wrong with him? These black folks can't do nothing for themselves. Here he is begging, begging, always begging. And we are so stupid. We won't even say, yeah, I'm begging because you stole my land. I'm begging because you killed my mother. I'm begging because you slaughtered my grandmother. I'm begging because you raped my sisters. That's why I'm begging. We're going to say, no, white man, you got to help us.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we're really in bad shape. You know why you can't give him the sense? You went to school, I hear. Your mama swept by the roadside, selling mangoes to send you to school, to send you to the best schools. Like my mother. My mother was living in a room, one room, saving every penny she made to send me to a school called Collège International Montpellier. After I finished secondary school, I had no idea. Hey, my mama said she's sending me to school. I went to school. But when I got to the school, you know what they taught in that school? They teach you how to drink whiskey, how to drink vodka, how to ride horses, how to play card games. And see, this is a school, of course she didn't know. To her it was a great school because it was in France, and in France everything you learn is good for you. This is a school that children of barons and queens and whatever, who don't have any brains, who don't have anything to do, all they have to do is go and learn how to walk fancy, speak fancy, and drink up a storm without ever looking drunk. It's sad, but it's true. I spent a year, and there was no way I could explain to my mother, this here, where you sent me, I don't belong here. Anyway, to make a long story short, I went, did my year. At the end of the year, I have a diploma. Hey, I know how to drink vodka real good. I know how to dress up. I was forced to press my hair. I think it was 3 times a week I was supposed to press my hair because I was never supposed to have a kink anywhere. I must not be myself, you know. My hair was always to be pulled in a silky, slinky little whatever it was. Okay, I did it all until the last day. When the notes were all posted, I washed my hair with a lot of pleasure. And I blow it all out, something like tonight. Probably it was much bigger because it was longer then. And I put an African outfit. Without lying, one of my teachers went to the hospital with an infarctus. And the man kept saying on the hospital bed, it is impossible. She was my best teacher. I invested so much in her. She can't revert like this. They worked hard to turn me into a white woman. It just didn't take. I was bad earth, bad soil. But I'm only telling you this because many of you are going to school. If you're not, you have a child that you're sending to school. You have a niece, you have a cousin that's going to school. A book written by a colonizer, a racist pig. Do you think that this can help your child grow? Am I saying you should not go to school? No. What is the difference between medicine and poison?
One kill him instantly.
What's the difference between the poison and the medicine? A matter of degree. Thank you, brother. It's the same thing. There is no difference. Every medicine is poison. It will kill you if that's what the doctor tells you. Take 1 teaspoon every 5 hours or every 8 hours. If you decide, hey, this pain is too much, let me take 5 teaspoons, what will happen to you? All right? Yes. Every medicine is poison. When you go to school, you have to think in terms, this is the poison you've got to have. But you have to measure how much of it, when you should take it, and sometimes maybe you just may have to say, hey, forget it. But that's a fact you need to know. Every time you sit in front of the television, somebody's working on you. Someone is working to change you from a black person who knows who they are and want to be themselves to something that wants to be anything other than what it is. When you take the New York Times to read, you think you're getting information? You are reading approved truth. Truth approved for general consumption. That's what you're getting. Has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with reality. We have right now the island of Montserrat, which is 1/3 covered by the ashes of a volcano. Is there a big boo-hoo in all the television programs, all the television stations, right? No. It's a bunch of black folks. Who cares? And funny thing is, this week we have Italy. A little earthquake shook and killed 4 people. There isn't one station who didn't give it. Not one. In Haiti, people are dying every day. All kinds of reasons, all kinds of situations. But that's not the problem. When the big, gory, bloody stuff arrives, that's when it's interesting. In seconds, we have thousands of journalists from all over the world in the country. When it's big and bright, you know. But never they will touch the reality of what's happening. They'll give you their version, their interpretation. And they will give it to you in a way, in degrees, that will make you feel these Haitians are a bunch of fools. These people always have a problem. And that's the same way they give us information about you. That's true. Most Haitians don't like black Americans. That's a fact. I'm not going to lie about it. We don't like you because the only information we have about you is what your enemy and ours tell us about you. And you don't like Haitians either. Because you have the same information from the same source about us. When was the last time the New York Times told you anything about Toussaint Louverture? When did the New York Times talk about Jean-Jacques Dessalines? When did you ever hear about what is the mission of this country? They even have us clap to be occupied in 1994. Yes, I stood up against the coup in Haiti. Yes, I stood up for the return of the will of the people in Haiti. Because at the time, yes, Aristide won by 70% of the votes, He is the choice of the people, so he should go back. But when I'm told, okay, he's going back with military occupation, I said, no, that's too expensive. This price, not for me. Most of my comrades were against me. But that's not their fault. Lack of vision, lack of knowledge of our street, lack of understanding. What does military occupation mean in any country? I don't care where. That is not the problem. Military occupation means prostitution will rise up out of the street into the best families, number one. Because General so-and-so and Colonel so-and-so from the U.S. Army is not going to go in the street and pay $2. No. And he's got to have a prostitute. He's going to go in your home, my home, take my sister. Number two, the cost of living must rise at least 15%. That's a fact, whether you want it or not. Any place where there have been occupation, those are the two first results of any occupation.
Yes, ma'am.
So before, 5 goods for $1. Today, 17, 18, 19, 20 goods for $1. You know how many people cannot eat in this country? 70% of the population is not working. The World Bank says, oh, to make things better, we have a good plan for you. Things are going to get real good, real fast. First, the public workers must be reduced by half. A study proved that every working Haitian feeds at least 7 people. And we only 30% of the population, the working population, is working. Now when you're going to reduce it to 15% of the population, how many people are we each going to feed? And then what happens to the ones who don't have somebody working to feed them? In 1946, Haiti imported nothing of what it needed to survive on a day-to-day basis. In 1960, Haiti did not import its food. Since 1970, there is progress, I think they call it. We start importing things. And today, 1997, Haiti imports even lemon, even plantain, even corn. And don't forget, we are buying it with 20 goods for $1. But remember, Haiti is nothing but an example. It's nothing. Whatever we say about Haiti, we could say it about Zaire, we could say it about Nigeria, we could say it about Togo, we could say it about Ghana, we could say it about Guinea, we could say it all over wherever our people are. And that's why we must make it our business. If we say we're serious about growing, if we say we're serious about going to war, you have to know what's happening in every part of your world. Don't sit here, I'm a black American, I'm living in Newark, New Jersey. Well, New York, I have no problem in Newark, New Jersey, we're okay. We have a nice mayor. No, we've got to become involved. Because whatever they're doing to us in Haiti, whatever they did in Zaire, in Lomé, in Ghana, it's coming to you, brother. It's coming your way, if it's not already there. Whatever they do to you, they're coming with us, to us with it. Whatever they do to us, they're coming to you with it. In 1960, Haitians did not know what drug was. 1970, if you say marijuana to somebody in Haiti, what you talking about? Cocaine? Today we have a large drug population since the occupation. Yes. Another wonderful thing that the United States of America does, it's cleaning out its jail populations, we're told. So for the past 3 years, every American Airlines that land in Port-au-Prince has 4 or 5 handcuffed men in the back. These are supposedly Ayitians. Nobody checked their papers, nobody really knows. But what is certain, they are hardcore criminals. The U.S. has a program. If you've been in jail 10 years, or you've gone to jail so many times, the next time they arrest you for hardcore crimes, instead of giving you life imprisonment, they can take you back to your country, supposedly. And this without saying anything to the government. You get to the airport, they take off the handcuffs, and you're in the streets. The American Airlines land every day in Haiti at least 3 times a day. And every day it brings a load. And then they say, oh, there is insecurity in the country. We wonder how come. Until 1985, I lived home in a house where I did not have the key to the front door. Even when I went on vacation, I didn't lock the door. I just pulled it. Today, I wouldn't dare. But to solve all of this, first element, we must know what's happening. Because if you don't know, you cannot resolve a problem that you have not identified. Number 2, you must get yourself together. Don't look at Zaid and say, well, here's what's wrong with Zaid. Forget it. Bayyinah has to look at Bayyinah. Look at what's wrong with Bayyinah and decide how to cure and clean Bayyinah. Zaid has to take a good look at Zaid, clean up Zaid, and cure Zaid. And when Bayyinah is clean, Zaid is clean, Bayyinah and Zaid can have a program together.
Thank you. Yes, sister, thank you.
All humans, Africans maybe more than others, know that we do not live by flesh alone. Yeah, I hear there are people who say they are atheist. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in spirits. Atheist, thank you. They don't believe in spirits. They don't believe in any force other than man. Possible. But what I know is all Africans, all, from every corner of the continent, all of the people with high melanin content, they all believe in what we don't see, in non-matter existence. So, I cannot speak and not come to the spirituality of things. In Haiti, a discipline was established. A set of belief, a belief system was established. Created from Ifa, from the motherland. Our expression of the divine, of the unseen, is called Vodun. Vodun is how we view the universe, how we view the interaction between matter and non-matter. Nothing is free from non-matter, from spirit. In Vodun, each person have their spirit. As a group, we have a spirit, all of us together. As a nation, we have a spirit. The tree has a spirit. The cat has a spirit. And Verdun teaches that if I really want to understand what's going on around me, what's going on in the world where I'm at, I must understand the spirit of things. I cannot just know matter of things. And Verdun gave us a multitude of principles for understanding. As I told you, everything has a... If the black man, there's a spirit of the black man. There's the spirit of the African man. There's the spirit of the white man. Whether he knows it or not, he's got one. Now, when the first black woman was raped by the first white man, and they brought into this world somebody called a mulatto, do you think this person has another spirit? Of course. With every new matter that comes to be, a new spirit comes to be. The television is a machine. The camera is a machine. But the camera has a spirit. And the best cameraman is the one who understands the mechanical workings of this machine and the spirit of this machine. So if we really want to get to work, we not only need to know ourselves, the truth about ourselves in the flesh, we need to know the truth about our own spirit. So we can tell, in fact, if you don't get into your spirit, how will you be able to kill this white man that's hiding in front of you without killing yourself? He and you are mingled in like this. If you're going to go get him, there's a large chance that you will kill yourself when you shoot at him, unless you know your spirit. And our people in Haiti have devised a system that allows us to understand the spirit of humans. And this understanding of spirits of humans, if we all knew it and applied it, it will make interaction between us so much easier. My brother Zaid over there, from having observed him a number of years, I know he's an Ogun. There's no doubt about it. My brother Inuni over here is a Legba. Now, if there is a position or there is something going on in this group, we all in a group, if Zaid knows who he is and Inuni knows who he is, they will never contest the same position. By knowing what their vital force, life force is, they know that certain things, they don't need to be there. They know that there is a time for them. They just have to let everybody be who they are and accomplish their mission. I'm going to try to make it a little clearer for you. Everybody here is familiar with Toussaint Louverture? Okay. Toussaint Louverture is a black man who largely contributed to the independence of Haiti, but he did not see independence. Freed himself as a slave. He was a slave for a time, and he was named by the white man François Dominique Breda. François means a thing belonging or having quality of French. Okay, a French thing, French possession, French quality. Dominique means somebody born on a Sunday. Breda is the name of the plantation where he was born. Every slave on that plantation signed Breda. Okay, so his name, François Dominique Breda. As this man started to implicate himself in the struggle for revolution, he got rid of the François. The Dominique fell off almost by itself. And people started calling him as his godfather used to call him secretly, Toussaint. He was called Toussaint because his godfather, who's a man who came to Haiti as an adult, an African, and as an African, Africans like to name people according to the day you were born. And he's born on November 1st, which is the day of All Saints. So Toussaint means All Saints. Okay? So his godfather secretly always called him that. Later, when he started to affirm himself as a revolutionary, he said to people, don't call me this Francois business. Hey, call me like my godfather calls me, Toussaint. Fine. As he became military implicated, and people start noticing that whenever they are trapped somewhere, and Toussaint is there, he always finds a way to open the way and get out of the trap. So then people start calling him l'ouverture, which means the opener, the one who opens the way. So Toussaint l'ouverture. This man paved the road to independence. But before independence, he was captured by the French, taken to France, locked up in a jail, opened up a hole in the ceiling for snow to come in and eat him away. He died of gangrene. After Toussaint, Jean-Jacques Dessalines took the lead of the movement. And Dessalines took things all the way to the Declaration of Independence, January 1st, 1804. But when you study these two people, when you study them spiritually, Toussaint, not only by his name, both his names, is a Legba. What is a Legba? Legba is the spirit, the opening, the initiator of all things. He opens the way for people. He allows somebody to get to where they ought to be. If you take the Bible, Moses is a Legba. He opens the way for people to get somewhere, but Legba never gets there. Legba must not be attached. Legba is the door. He creates the opening for you. You go in. He stays there to create another opening for somebody else. He doesn't go. Toussaint did not see independence. Toussaint was followed, as I said, by Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who is an Ogun. Ogun is the spirit of the one who eliminates obstacles after an objective is set. Be careful. An Ogun is a very wicked thing if there is no objective. You have to have your objective set, and then the role of Ogun is clear, and Ogun will give you a fine job. It will get you to the objective. So, depending on what circumstances we're in and what our objective is, Zaid and Inuni cannot want the same position. Two very different nature, two very different spirit. But when Zaid don't know who he is, and Inuni does not know who he is, what happens? It's easy for them to fight for the same position because they do not know who they are. They are not in touch with their true self, the vital force that makes them be. And that's why it's important for us to get into the spirituality, our own. Vodou is not, you see, in Africa, I hate to talk about religion. Be careful. Religion is a business in which they sell God. And this business works very well for whoever sets up the shop. Okay? Now, when we're talking about Vodou, we're not talking about a religion. We're talking about understanding your profound nature so you can be and live as who you are. Nobody can come and tell you, well, hey, you want something? I'm going to see that, well, give me $5,000, now I'm going to call God up there and, tell him. No. And this is something that sometimes I found so sad, that we have a lot of people who claim to be Hungan, and practicing voodoo. And they're doing the business, the same business as the Catholics, and they're trying to turn it into a religion. In fact, something horrible is happening at home right now. A lot of Hungans today are starting to dress in the robes, the big white robe or black robe the priests used to wear, that they're not wearing anymore. Now the Hungans at home are wearing them with a big cross on their stomach. They're giving up the asson, a thing they used to shake. They're now taking the cloche, the bell. Ding, 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 ding. If you go certain ceremonies today, you go to them and you think you're in church. Anyway, today a lot of them start with, "Our Father who art in heaven." Yes. And that is sad. That is out of nature, out of themselves. Spirituality, nobody can teach it to you. You need to get the fundamentals of any books, any spiritual system. You can get the fundamentals and then look at inside of you and then determine how you are going to use the fundamental principles to improve your life. But nobody can tell you, you must pray every Friday, you must do this every Saturday, you must do that every Sunday. No. Because what is good for you is not necessarily what I need. You may need to go into yourself and meditate 100 times a day. And even the same person will not need it the same way all the time. You, in certain circumstances, you need to be meditating and finding all your forces, gathering all your forces continuously certain days. And then other days you may not even think about it. It doesn't mean you don't pray. Because everything you say, if you're living your own life, if you are who you are, and you know who you are, and you live working towards realizing your mission in life, every sound of it out of your mouth is a prayer. Every gesture you make is a prayer. Every dance you dance is a prayer. And when you make love with somebody, you are praying. If you know who you are, and this person knows who they are.
That's right. That's right.
There isn't anything that you do that is not a prayer. When you know who you are. When we're looking at life, taking life as if we were, leaves being blown in the wind. You don't put any objective. You don't set no objectives. You just sit there and complain. Here's something else we're very good at. We can complain for days. And when you say to somebody, what's the solution? Okay, let's try. Nothing's going to work. But they keep doing this. They're doing this to us. No, don't complain. I don't believe in complaining. Look at the truth for what it is. Face up to it. Oshun teaches us. Love, you know what love is? Are you sitting well? Because I know you all been looking at all this television and this movie and reading all these fine romance novels.
Don't sugarcoat.
Love is knowing your weaknesses, your strength. The weaknesses and strength of your partners, the weaknesses and strength of your enemies. That is love according to Oshun. That is equilibrium. If somebody tells you, "Oh, I love this brother. Look at his little nose." This person don't love you. Person loves your nose, man. You better run. "Oh, I love this sister. Her butt is so cute." Man is a butt man. Don't waste your time with him. When there is love, there can never be love when there is no knowledge. Ignorant can't love nothing, not even themselves. Knowledge is the first step to love. I know this brother. I know what he can do. I know his spirit. I love the brother. Yes. And because I love him, and he knows me, he loves me, we can make a plan together. I don't have to become your wife. You love me, I love you. There's something we can do together. Maybe it's going to be something in the revolution. Maybe it's going to be something in business. And maybe it's going to be put our two lives together. But that's not the where we're going to do the loving. It doesn't really matter. I love you, you love me. We're going to do something that's going to benefit the whole. That's when I love you. But if I love your nose and you love my butt and her little feet and her little something, please. This is not going to take anybody anywhere. In Verdum, we are taught good is what benefits the collective. The individual exists to contribute to the collective. So when I'm going out, I want to get all the money I can get to get me 2 cars, 5 houses, and jewelry and galore and all of this. And you tell me, I love my people. And I'm going to say, I love my people. My people are starving to death. Any one of my earrings could feed a child for a couple of years. I'm sorry, that's not true. I do not have a good knowledge of who I am. Because if I have a good knowledge of who I am, I will know that this hungry child is me. So this hungry child cannot stay that way when I'm with 10,000 jewelry all over the place. No, I cannot do it. Before I came, I prepared a text, the text I delivered yesterday. This text, I prepared it, and since I went back home, I have made it a policy that whenever I'm coming out here or out of the country to talk, my text must be approved by peasants in my country. So after preparing my text, I translate it in our own language, and I go to different places in the country, and I deliver it to groups of people who don't know how to read and write. And I have been shocked at the corrections they have brought to my text. One such correction is a definition of the word success. I had wonderful, I don't know what it is, but I had beautiful words to say what success is. And a peasant, about 72 years old, said, success, that's not that. I said, what do you mean? I mean, I went to school. I should know. I read in big dictionaries. He said, that's not success, sister. What you're describing here is applaud for a particular achievement. That is not success. Success is being who you are in such a complete and stable way that you become the foundation upon which the next generation will feel secure.
Yes, sir.
Success is not what you do. Success is who you are. If you live your life as who you are and who you ought to be, nobody needs to know you. Don't matter you don't go on CNN. It doesn't matter if WBI don't know you exist. You are a very successful person. Another brother asked me, do you have any children? I said, yes. How many? 4. And 2 grands. Where are they? I said, where they were. He asked me a number of questions. Did they go to school? What did they do? Blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. How many, any of them got arrested? Any of them doing drugs? Any of them smoking? No. Well, you're a successful woman. Because the ones who came after you, their lives are good. That's what your success is. Makes no difference to me how many cars you got, how many houses you got. That is not success. So we need to look inside and establish for ourselves. Don't take other people's standards. White men say, small nose are in, and we all go around walking like this and feeling guilty because our nose breathe real good. You have no problem breathing. That's great.